a bummer. It can be overwhelming when Scott Walker is out in New York City with David Koch. And the governor's been out of the state 57 days so far this year. 57 days so far this year, he hasn't been here. Yeah, it's a lot of time, but you know what? By the same token, if you wanted to leave all the time, but he's been out of the state 57 days. He's been out of the state 57 days. He cares about us so much. He cares about the issues, the concerns of the state so much that he's literally been in Iowa more than he's been in Janesville. And yeah, think about it. If you were to take, I bet you could add it up, Andy. And so, at a certain point, I happen to think the people of Wisconsin, who are very closely divided, are going to wake up to this thing. And I think it's coming pretty soon. The latest poll from Marquette University showed that if the election was today, Scott Walker would get a little over 39% of the vote for president of the United States. Hillary Clinton would get 52%. The most interesting part about it is that Rand Paul, Marco Rubio, and Jeb Bush all run better than Scott Walker in Wisconsin. I actually think Wisconsinites are starting to get that this guy doesn't care all that much about us. And so I'm thinking, yeah, somebody says, finally. Man, I knew that 5 years ago. But sometimes it takes people time. I'm a historian, and a historian especially of Wisconsin. And, you know, we sent Joe McCarthy to the U.S. Senate. Yeah. And he was pretty horrible. That was a pretty bad move on our part. And the worst move was we re-elected Joe McCarthy. And, you know, that was a pretty bad move. 1950, I got to tell you, in 1952, after we re-elected Joe McCarthy, if you were a progressive in Wisconsin, you must have felt pretty darn near useless. You couldn't even beat Joe McCarthy, right? I mean, you guys, it's like a swear word, and you can't beat him. And here's the thing that happened, though. The Democratic Party was at the pits. They lost for president, they lost for the Senate, they lost for governor, they lost all the statewide jobs. They lost everything. The Democratic Party was like the Republican Party in Rock County. And that was 1952. 5 years later, there was a U.S. Senate race. It took 5 years. How long? 5 years since Scott Walker got it. 5 years later, there was a U.S. Senate race. And the nominee, it was such a lousy situation for the Democratic Party, they nominated for the U.S. Senate the guy who had lost 3 times for governor. A 3-time loser was their nominee for the U.S. Senate. And, oh, they made fun of him. In fact, his opponent, who was one of the Kohlers, a toilet giant. His opponent said, that Bill Proxmire, he's a loser. You know what Bill Proxmire said? He finally figured out how to talk to folks. He said, you know what? Maybe I am a loser. I think that all the people for whom everything that's gone right in life, they're living large, they got the house on the hill, they've never had to worry about paying a bill, they should vote for Walter Kohler. But if you ever asked a girl out and she said no, you're a loser, you should vote for me. If you ever had a job and you got laid off, you're a loser, you should vote for me. If you ever got to the end of the month and you didn't quite have enough money to pay all the bills, you're a loser, you should vote for me. If you're a farmer and you didn't get enough money for your milk to pay for everything that farm costs, you're a loser, you should vote for me. I'll tell you what, I'll take the votes of all the losers, and if we get together, we can beat them, and then we can be the winners. And you know what Wisconsin did 5 years after they re-elected Joe McCarthy? Wisconsin sent Bill Proxmire to the United States Senate as the first Democrat to win in a quarter century. And you know what they did the next year? They took a loser state senator. Guy who never even run statewide. Guy who lost a congressional race the year before. He was the only person that wanted to run for governor in 1958. And you know what? Gaylord Nelson got elected governor of Wisconsin in 1958. This district, this first district that hadn't voted for a Democrat for Congress as long as anybody could remember, literally, the better part of the century, this district sent Jerry Flynn, who none of you even know. They sent Jerry Flynn, my dad's friend from Racine, who was a shambling, silly guy who drove around in his beat-up car, and he was a lawyer that never quite made it. But damn, if in 1958 he didn't end up as a United States congressman, because people had finally woken up to the fact of the matter, and the fact of the matter is, when we get together, we're not losers anymore. We're winners. We send people like us, working people, people who take a shower at the end of the day, not at the start of the day. We send them to Congress. We make them senators. We make them governors. And the fact of the matter is, this state's story isn't done. This state's story is just beginning. There's a kid from Janesville, Wisconsin, kid who went to high school here, who's going to come back to this state next year. I have a feeling, I don't know this for sure, but I have a feeling this kid from Janesville, that kid from Janesville, Russ Feingold, is going to come back to Wisconsin. He's going to come back to Janesville. And I got a feeling that just like in 1957, where after all those years of getting beaten down, suddenly everything started to turn the right way. I got a feeling that in 2016, Democrats can do fine in the presidential race, but I got a feeling that Russ Feingold might just go back to the United States Senate for the state of I don't know, but I got a feeling he might even sweep in a new register of deeds in Rock County. That everyone in this room, and that means you one, everyone in this room who may have felt beat down, may have felt bummed out, may have felt like, well, why did I go to the Capitol that 15th time? Why did I show up for that debate? Why did I just keep banging away? Why did I pass those recall petitions around? Because you're right. But why did I do all that work? Because we just keep getting beat. Well, they probably felt that way in 1957. They probably felt that way. And then they started winning. Well, brothers and sisters, I came down to Janesville tonight, not because I wanted to be with losers. I wanted to be with winners. I wanted to be in a room where everybody at every table is an elected official. And I wanted to be in a room where there are people who absolutely believe what Russ Feingold's sister told him when they were fighting when he was 10 years old. She said, I beat you. You know, she's older, she's a rabbi now, so it's all okay. She said, I beat you. And Russ Feingold looked at her and said, this fight isn't over until I win.